You keep making promises to yourself, but part of you already knows that you're not going to keep them. So you say that you'll start tomorrow. You're waiting to feel motivated, but deep down, you already know that you don't trust yourself. And that hurts. That hurts more than failing ever could. If you feel this way, then this episode is for you. I used to tell myself all the time that I would start fresh on Monday. I'd even put together a plan and everything was perfect Sunday night. Monday rolls around and I didn't start. Most of the time, I would just brush it off, do the same thing again, and the cycle continues to repeat. After a while, I realized that I just didn't believe in myself anymore. I just didn't trust in myself anymore. When I said I was going to do something, even I didn't believe I was going to do it. It hit me. It hit me that believing in yourself, all it means is that you'll do what you say you're going to do. Motivation has nothing to do with it. Consistent action is all it is. You say you're going to do something and you do it consistently. But the key here is to pick something that you can actually do. And this is for you to get started. When you're getting started, you need momentum. You need to get the ball rolling. And in order for you to get the ball rolling, you've got to get some speed. You've got to get some wins. So picking something that is easier for you to do, even though it's might be a little bit challenging, is the key, because it will allow you to actually follow through. And when you follow through with something, there is energy that's created inside of yourself, and there is a sense of fulfillment that's created inside of yourself, and it builds into what we call momentum. And momentum is essentially consistency, right? It's consistency that you start to see things that become predictable, and you start to see things that when you look back at yourself, you say, yes, I can do that. And you go do it. You have an idea, you have a dream, you have a goal, you have a project, something you want to do. To you, it feels very big. To you, you've told yourself so many times, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but you never do it. Find something small that you can do to get your foot into the door and go do that. If, for example, if it's in fitness, you want to get in better shape, you want to start working out, but going to the gym feels very heavy for you, and maybe you're self-conscious, you're not comfortable in that environment. There's a lot of people, you don't want people to see you struggle in that way, right? These are all things that people who are beginning to go to the gym struggle with. Well, start at home. Maybe you do push-ups, you do sit-ups, you go out for a walk, you go out for a jog. You do these little things to start to gain those small wins, to start to gain those momentum. And then eventually those will build up. Those push-ups will lead into more push-ups and sit-ups. And then all of a sudden you get bored of those push-ups and decide maybe you want to go to the gym after all and do something different. And so you'll go try a class. Going outside, you walk. The more you walk, the better shape you get in, and then you'll start to do a little bit of jogging. When you start to do a little bit of jogging, you start to do a little bit of running, right? So you're starting to see a theme here with actually getting momentum is it starts small. It's not about huge jumping. It's about the little things. So take care of the little things first. If you are getting something out of this episode, subscribe to the podcast Be Unafraid. I share episodes every single week that are going to help you build the confidence and courage to actually face your fears and start creating momentum and doing things in your life. So let's get back into the episode. Notice the times that you actually follow through. Most of the time, we focus on the things that we don't do right. We focus on the things that we mess up, but we never really stop to pay attention to the things that we do right. When you say you're going to do something and you actually do it, pay attention to that. Be conscious of that. Make a note of that. Make a mental note, write it down, whatever you have to. Tell yourself, I said I was going to do this thing and I did it. That means I am a person of integrity in this aspect, or becoming a person of integrity, somebody who says what they're going to do and does it. Be conscious of those moments and take those in. The reason for that is because it's a good reminder to remind yourself that you're doing better than you think. You're doing better than you think because a lot of times, a lot of you will go through life and you might actually be doing some good things a lot of times. I would argue most of the time you're doing good things, but you don't stop to pay attention to them because those good things don't really feel like milestones, right? Because we don't build them up to be milestones. So you forget about them, you do them and you move on. And then you focus on the things that you mess up because those are the ones that feel like they're attacking the core of who we are. Those are the ones that are embarrassing. Those are the ones that are scary. Those are the ones that people pay attention to the most, right? Everybody loves a good piece of drama, right? For that. And we pay attention to those, and you just start to live off of that. And you don't take the time to actually see what you're doing right, because there are things that you are. If you say you're going to do something, you go, the day comes and you don't do it, you have to hold yourself accountable, right? But at the same time, you need to be honest with yourself and not be perfect. And if you miss something, the key here is not to just write it off or chalk it up as, oh, I'll do it next time. The key here is to be honest about it. Why did you miss it? Why did you not do what you said you're going to do? Really, really be honest with yourself. Give yourself that feedback. Lay it all out there. And then start again. Start again. And this time commit that when that time comes for you to do it, to take that next step, you will do it because you've learned from the previous quote unquote failure. And now you apply that and you do it. And that is what we call a growth mindset. You grow from those experiences. The point isn't to always be perfect, because there are going to be days for various reasons you're not going to do something that you had every intentions of doing, right? The key here is to keep showing up, be consistent, keep showing up, and you will start to build that consistency and momentum. And you're not going to rely on motivation. You're not going to rely on motivation because you're not always going to be motivated. Not every single day are people motivated to do things. Even the top of the highest performers that you see out there, the great entrepreneurs and the athletes and everybody else out there that's doing these big things, they're not motivated every single day to do it. Now, granted, they have an insane amount of motivation, determination, and drive to do something because they're doing it at the highest level. But there's more often than not days where they wake up and they don't want to work out in the morning. They don't want to eat that healthy food again. They don't want to go into that business meeting. They don't want to go and sit there and work hours and hours trying to solve problem X, right? But because they're driven, because they're consistent, because they have momentum, and because they have been doing it for so long, and being honest with themselves when they don't show up and correcting that, they still show up anyways. The work doesn't really care about your feelings, and they understand that. The work is going to be there. It needs to get done. Whether you feel motivated or you don't feel motivated, the work doesn't care. It's hard. It's hard to believe in yourself when you keep letting yourself down constantly. You just don't trust yourself. Think about it. When somebody lets you down, you lose a level of trust in that person. It's the same when you let yourself down. You're losing a level of trust in yourself. But that starts to change when you follow through on something, especially when you start small and start to see these small wins. It starts to change your mindset. One thing is what you need today. One thing is what you need this week, just to prove that you can be a person of your word. Pick one thing, say you're going to do it, write down that you're going to do it, and then do it today or do it this week. Watch what happens after you do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something that reminds you that you can count on yourself. If you've been scared to mess up in your life or to start something new because you're afraid to be a beginner and you're afraid what others are going to think, then watch this episode right here. It's going to help you see failure in a way that will actually make you become more confident in your life.